Hey folks, Gwe. You clicked on the video, the title. Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I heard about the shooter, the fellow who is being investigated as the shooter on Saturday, who it looks like tried to take Donald Trump's life. Please understand, at no point in this video am I excusing the behavior. I'm not. There's no excuse for violence. Violence, as I said in a recent video, is evidence of failure. At the exact same time, what I'm going to be talking about, I'm not saying it because I'm trying to blame anybody. I'm not pointing my finger and saying, your behaviors at that point eventually led to this. I'm not doing that either. I'm looking at what I'm hearing about this person, and I'm trying to find a way forward through it, a message, a lesson that we can take to help make the world a better place. So again, not justifying behavior. I'm not justifying that bad behavior, and I'm also not blaming anybody. Yesterday, I was getting ready for work, and I think I had the news on or something. Maybe YouTube was on, and it was just sort of playing. And eventually, it started talking about the investigation into the shooter, and they were talking about him, and they were talking about his family, his mom, his dad. They were talking about his neighborhood, his home, his high school life. They were talking about his friends, his colleagues, the people he worked with, the people he went to school with. And I caught a picture of him. Now, I'm not going to put his picture up here, but I saw a picture of him taken in 2021. Now, I'm a softie. Fine, I'll take it. I'm a softie. I've got 4 kids, two adult children, and 2 children still in one in elementary school, one in junior high. I love them all. And when I saw his picture, it just reminded me of the school pictures that my kids have taken over the years, and my heart kind of broke looking at him. And then, of course, you hear the stuff, right? Because these reporters, the news, and I guess police and stuff as well, they're talking to everybody. They want to know every little detail they can possibly get their hands on, because maybe they'll have the thing that will, break the case wide open, and they'll get their clicks. And so, reporters, they're talking to anybody and everybody who may have had any kind of contact with this person at all. I mean, they were making a big deal out of the fact that he appears for like 3 seconds in some video that his college put out, some promotional video that his college put out, and I guess they've taken it down because of that 3 second thing. Loner, didn't have many friends. Republican, gave to Democratic causes. Got bullied every day. And I don't know why. Did a similar thing a couple of weeks ago. Don't know why it hits me. Probably because growing up, it was always something I was really afraid of. Ate lunch alone every day. These were things that his former classmates said about him. He ate lunch alone every day. He was bullied every day. Bullied a lot, all the time. Didn't have many friends. This was seen. His life was seen. Now, media saying there's not a lot about him on social media. He doesn't have a whole lot of posts out there claiming he's going to do this or that. He didn't sociopathically say how he was going to do this or that, or share his inner demons on social media. No, he didn't have to. Right? His life was witnessed when he was in school. People saw him. They saw what his life was like. Lonely. Terrifying. Ate lunch alone. Anyhow, as I was thinking about this, and as my desire to call out and point my finger faded, and I allowed it to tell me something about myself, I realized that growing up, that was always a big fear for me. I remember going into the lunchroom and just being scared that there'd be nobody there to sit with, and that I'd have to sit alone. Now, I don't necessarily understand why I had the fear of sitting alone, but I really didn't want to have to sit alone. I'm guessing that would have said something to everybody else in the room. I'm guessing it would have been a matter of shame. I'm guessing that it would have I was afraid of what it would have said to everybody else in the room. That I was somebody to avoid. That I was somebody that nobody found any value in. That I was somebody that nobody saw any good in. I was somebody that wasn't worth anybody's time. I wasn't cool enough, popular enough, good looking enough, smart enough, funny enough. You can add whatever words you want in there. And as I thought about the shooter, and I thought about the things his former classmates were saying, I thought about the things his former classmates watched him go through over and over and over again, and I allowed myself to go back into that place myself long time ago. I really wish somebody had. I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful that I didn't have to eat lunch alone. I'm really grateful that I had a group of friends who were always there. I'm really grateful that I had several circles of friends that I could spend my time with. I had my athletic friends, and I had my board game friends, and I had my Friday night, Saturday night party friends, and I had a large number. I had my nerd friends. I love my nerd friends. But I had my friends, right? I had many. I'm so incredibly grateful for them. There are people in our lives who are desperately alone. And if we're willing to open our eyes, and see them, I don't just mean observe. I mean really, really see them. Maybe we can do something about it. Maybe we can take the initiative. Maybe we can be active and intentional. Maybe we can purposefully look to them. Those people who are alone, those people who have no friends, those people who are sitting alone, eating their lunch. Maybe we can do something. Maybe we can step closer towards them, step into their lives a little bit. If they'll have us, maybe we can let them know that they don't have to be alone. Maybe we can invite them into our circle. Maybe we can bring our circle to them. Maybe we can relieve some of their discomfort, some of their anxiety, some of their fears, some of their loneliness. It's kind of what we're supposed to do, right? As a society, right? Like, psychologists will say, and there's several psychologists that I've read who a community is essential for a person. It's essential for us to have a community is essential for us. And we will go and we will find a community. Whether it's healthy or not, it's a different thing, but we will go and we will find a community. But what if in our society, as great and wonderful as it's supposed to be, what if our society said, no, you don't have to do that. We're going to come to you. And what if we were the hands and the feet that did that? What if we said, okay, I know how important it is to be a part of a community, and I see this person who's out there all on their own, and I don't want them to find their way into an unhealthy community, so I'm going to embrace them. It's not an easy thing, by the way. Like it's not. That person who's sitting there alone, they're already carrying some fear. They're already carrying some pain. They're already carrying experiences that they relive. There's a lot of distrust, a lot of sorrow, a lot of grief, a lot of pain, a lot of anger. If you go to them, if you choose to accept this mission, if you go to them, they're not going to be terribly talkative at first, or they're going to be way too talkative. They're not going to share any intimate details, or they're going to share way too many intimate details. They're going to say the most inappropriate jokes, and they're going to be probably not funny at all. They're going to work way too hard at pushing you away, and they're going to work way too hard at keeping you close. They may never say thank you, and they may never leave you alone. They might follow you around like a little puppy. It's going to be awkward and painful to begin with. But you, in that case, you're not just a person there to, you're not just there to comfort them. In all fairness, you're there as a healer. That's part of your job in that situation, is to be their spiritual, emotional healer. Not intentionally, you know what I mean. But you're going to bump into all their injuries, and you're going to bump into all their pain. You can't be afraid of it. Even if the person is different. Again, I'm not trying to blame anybody. But we hear these things all the time. Yeah, never had any real friends. Never saw him with anybody. Never saw him, always eating alone. He was always bullied. We say, like, how many times a year do we find ourselves listening to an exploration of somebody's life, somebody who's done something horrible, and we hear these, what are now cliches. This was a lonely person in a lot of pain. This was a lonely person who was beaten up by individuals, by groups, and by the world. This was a person of sorrow. This was a person of grief. This was a person this was an injured person. And we see them everywhere, all day long. Again, I'm not blaming anybody, and I'm not also saying that if you do these things, you can prevent the next disaster, the next tragedy. It's not the promise. I'm simply saying, if we are able to look back and say, this is what I've observed about this person, then we're also capable of recognizing what it is we're observing in the moment we're observing it, and we are capable of doing something about it. We're capable of reaching out. May not change a thing for that person. may change their life. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. May you be safe. May you be the healer that God made you to be. May you be willing to reach out to those in our world who are struggling, those in our world who are in pain, those in our world who are grieving, those in our world who are lonely. May you be Christ. May you be a source of light and love, hope. Amen. Nemultus.